Okay, so I finished my portrait drawing using contour lines, and then I drew a grid on top of it using the 3-point method to make sure that my lines were straight and that I had accurately measured 1 inch apart. Now I'm going to show you how we are going to color in using a Chuck Close inspired method using colored pencils. I have one that started, so I'm going to show you that. This is another portrait that I drew, and I have begun using the Chuck Close method. Chuck Close paints within each square of his grid, and then he paints kind of in shapes and outlines things. So I have an orange colored pencil, I have a yellow colored pencil, I have a red colored pencil, and I also have a brown colored pencil to help me kind of with some of the darker areas that I need to add for some shadowing. So I start off with my orange colored pencil and I work within my 1 by 1 inch grid. So I'm going to start coloring in. When I use colored pencils, I like to color lightly because I can always make it darker again later, but it's kind of hard to make it lighter. So I'm going to color in lightly with my orange colored pencil. Now I personally, in my classroom, I do not buy the colored pencils that have all of what they call the peach or the flesh tone colors. I like to mix my own, and Chuck Close used a variety of different colors in areas to help kind of let your eye mix the color itself. So I'm going to color in the orange, and then I'm going to use yellow. Now he outlined things. He would go through and he would paint them a solid color, and then he would outline things. So I'm going to give this square kind of a yellow border. And then I'm going to go over it and make it more of an intermediate or a tertiary color, and I'm going to make this kind of a yellow-orange. Okay, so I'm going to mix more of a yellow-orange color. Here's where if you have light pencil lines on your grid, you'll be able to cover those up fairly easily. Okay, I'm going to take my red and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit darker around the eye, and I'll take a little bit of brown and I'll kind of mix it in there with that red, just to kind of show that there's that shadow, because your eyes compared to your nose, which is where this is, are sunk back into your face. So around the eye, I'm going to break it into 2 pieces. I'm going to do the top part that's above the eye and then the part that's below the eye. So I'm going to color in the part above my eye. I have not colored in the other eye. I've just been working on the skin around. I'm going to take my yellow. I'm not going to go right to the edge this time because I'm going to give it kind of an orange outline. And then I'll go below the eye and color in. Now I can color fairly quickly and neatly with colored pencils because I've had lots of practice. If you need to slow down so that way you can color in neatly, then slow down. Now I've colored in below the eye, so I'm going to give it some yellow to make it more yellow-orange. Okay. And then underneath the eye, I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to make kind of a line shape underneath the eye. And I'll take some red and mix it in with the brown just to kind of show the shadow. Okay. It's a little darker than the other one. Let's see if I can't lift out some of the color. There we go, that's better. And give it a yellow line around it. Okay, and so that's what I've been doing. Chuck Close colors things in solidly, and then he adds more of an outline. Up here at the top where the hair is, where there would be more shadow from the hair, granted the hair's not colored in yet, but there would be more shadow, I added some darker colors. Let me bring it in a little closer. Okay, so I colored it orange, and then I added a darker orange line, not right at the edge of where the lines were, and then I colored it in more yellow orange, and I did the same thing over there. And you can see where the hairline would be, where it's darker, I've added a red outline with some brown in it to kind of help make it more muted. Okay, so that's what I've been working on to make my Chuck Close inspired portrait. So let me show you again this square here. I'm going to start, I'm going to go up to the ear. The ear is actually, this is where this square ends. The ear, I'm going to not color in the ear at this exact moment in time. Okay, so kind of outline it with the orange. Remember, I can always make it darker, but it's kind of harder to make it lighter. Some colored pencils, some of the ones are easier to make them lighter, but I always like to start off light because it's a lot easier to make it darker for the most part with any kind of colored pencil you might have than it is to make it lighter. So I'm going to color this in using the little oval method, which I've shown you before in class. Okay, I'm going to take my red, I'm going to give it kind of a red outline over here by where my ear, where the ear is on this. So I've kind of given it a thick, not a super thick, but a thicker outline. I'll take a little bit of brown and go right over the top of it, mixing those two colors. Okay. And then I'll go back over it with the yellow to make the yellow orange. Give it more of a yellow outline around that square. I can always go back after I've gotten things done and I can add in more shadows. But that is what I've been doing to color in my Chuck Close inspired portrait. Okay, so I drew my face, I added my features, drew my neck, my ears, the hair, details of some simple details of clothing using contour lines. Contour lines are just the outline, making it more like a coloring book page so that way I could color in. And then using the grid method that Chuck Close uses, I've started adding in my colors.